Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a packed episode from some draft buzz to a promising French connection for Trae Young, two intriguing forward prospects that Atlanta may be targeting at either 13 or 22, and finally some whispers around Boston's core and whether the Hawks could or should be interested in some of the players that are going to become available. May be available in trade season. However, nothing is a guarantee, but Boston is obviously looking to shake up their team. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, along with all the other topics. I mean, we are just days away from the NBA draft. I mean, it is going to be on June 25th, and by the time this is out, it will be June 20th. So we are just 5 days away, and there's a ton to break down. It's going to be a busy week here on Hawks Latest. So without further ado, let's get into it and talk about how yesterday NBA scout and draft analyst Rafael Barlow had tweeted out something about Trae. He said it was dope seeing Trae Young hooping and giving game to a group of young French prospects today. He shared with them, you never know who's watching, and that even now he still has something to prove and improve every year. That's leadership in action. The fact that this is Trae just on his own, no cameras, no attention, no media spotlight, just wanting to talk to some of the young French prospects coming into the league. That really shows something with his character and his leadership leap. I mean, Trae's leadership leap has been absolutely remarkable. I mean, it's something that we've been increasingly seeing from Trae over the past season or two, especially last season. I mean, from really taking Zachary Rizichet and Dyson Daniels under his wing this past season. Young is really stepping into a true leadership role, and he's going out of his way to do stuff like this because he was once that kid who was 18, 19 years old coming into the NBA draft with all the expectations on your shoulders. And he knows what it's like and the struggles you have to endure. And also with the Hawks just drafting French forward Zachary Rizichet number 1 overall last year, he knows what it is like being in a locker room as a 19-year-old French prospect because he was working so closely with Zachary Rizichet last season. So he has some great insight to share with these guys, and it's good that he went and got a workout in with them and shared some advice. I mean, this latest session in France is just another example of Young's awesome leadership that he's going to continue to carry into seasons beyond. While we don't know exactly which French prospects were in attendance, a handful of names have already been linked to the Hawks during this draft cycle, a few guys out of France. So of those, Noah Essengue, Jean Béranger, Nolan Traore, Noah Penda, and Maxime Reynaud. Of that group, Maxime Reynaud, the 7'1" Stanford stretch big, is the only one that has worked out with the Atlanta Hawks so far in the draft cycle. I mean, there's not going to be many left. Workouts are truly concluding, and there hasn't been much of like the Hawks really targeting a lot of players at 13 in their workouts. We might see over the next couple of days they might bring in someone in the later cycle, but if not, I mean the Hawks have their work cut out for them, and I mean some guys obviously aren't working out, so you have that. But I mean, it's all there. I mean, perhaps the most intriguing name in that bunch of French players that are going to be drafted pretty high this year is Noah Essengue, a rising star whose draft stock is seriously climbing fast. And that is actually going to lead us into our next segment because we're going to break down Essenge's game. Because while he hasn't been someone that's been linked to the Hawks too much, he's definitely someone who has been, making some people intrigued because his skill set is just so wide and he really looks like someone who could fit in today's NBA. I mean, Essengue is one of the most intriguing forwards in this year's class. He's currently projected to be off the board before the Hawks make their initial selection at 13. But if he falls or if Atlanta trades up, which is obviously being heavily speculated right now, he seriously could be on their radar. I mean, he is 6'9". He's got a long frame and impressive mobility at his size. Essengue really does fit the mold of the modern combo forward. He's a defensive Swiss Army knife, to put it lightly. He's mobile enough to switch on the perimeter, but I mean he's strong enough to hold down inside. I mean he averaged 2 steals per 36 minutes in FIBA Eurobasket play for France. Show his instincts. He is truly a versatile defender, and his instincts are truly translating against high level competition. And at his age, that is something we love to see because it looks like he could easily translate that into the NBA. I mean, obviously, he's not a perfect prospect. I mean, he's got his flaws. I mean, offensively, he's not really a shot creator yet, but he is still incredibly effective in motion. I mean, whether it's cutting, finishing in transition, or, I mean, attacking closeouts in a straight line. I mean, he's a team first player, and that's really telling, and he's someone who might fit into Hawks culture and might be someone who could work with Shea and obviously be taken under his wing by Atlanta's current vets. It could be a good fit, and the Hawks could recognize that and trade up for him, as I really don't suspect he will be there at 13. However, we don't know. He could fall. I mean, really, in this year's NBA draft, we know who's going 1, we know who's going 2, and then the draft starts at 3, because now, obviously, with Ace Bailey canceling his workout with the Philadelphia 76ers, we have no idea what's going to happen at 3 and beyond. So this draft anything could happen. Essengue could fall to 13 right into the Hawks' lap, and I mean that would be a dream scenario. He has a high motor. I mean, his feel for the game is way ahead of schedule for someone who obviously just turned 19. This season in Euro Cup and the German BBL, he averaged around 12 and 5 while bringing energy on both ends. Just a high-level player at his age. I mean, he's still a very raw player, especially in the half court as a scorer, but I mean, the upside is truly significant. His archetype would fit beautifully next to Johnson and Okongwu in the second unit, maybe even start occasionally. I mean, he's a long-term guy who's going to obviously eat up his rookie contract and then that second contract. I mean, we're not talking like superstar guy here. I mean, some guys, some draft analysts predict that he's going to have one of the best careers out of everyone in the draft. But he could be a reliable rotation player going forward, and it's someone who the Hawks should absolutely consider to either move up for or take if he falls. He'd be tough to pass up if he falls 13. If not, he really might be worth moving up for. So now we're going to talk about the next prospect of the day. And I know I've already told everyone, who my top prospects are for this draft. But I've done a lot more research on Fleming over the past couple of days. And boy, I'll tell you, this guy is he is quickly climbing up my ranks as one of the top players I would like for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, this guy's tape is ridiculous. He's another name that's truly been gaining steam, and he might really be available at 22. He might be available, late in the first, maybe 22 might be a little bit of a reach as teams tend to bank on upside as it gets closer to draft day. So he might be someone the Hawks have to take at 13, or if you trade down from 13 to maybe like 16 or 17, that could really work out for the Hawks. I mean, Fleming out of St. Joseph's is someone who I really think the Hawks should consider. So here's some facts about Fleming. I mean, at 6'9", he's got a similar frame to Noah Essengue, but he has springy athleticism. He's a late bloomer who made a massive leap this past season. I mean, defensively, he is everywhere. I mean, he's a amazing defensive prospect. I mean, 1.5 blocks and 1.5 steals per game as a junior at St. Joseph's, and he plays with that relentless energy that every team needs off the bench. Offensively, his most eye-popping development has been as a shooter. While he's not particularly known as a shooter, and that's not really a giant part of his game, he made a remarkable leap from his sophomore to his junior year, going from 32% to 39%. I mean, he is right at that 40% range on good volume. He has seriously become one of the more reliable stretch bigs in mid-major basketball. So going from a non-shooter to one of the most reliable shooters is certainly a notable development in my eyes. I mean, that said, though, scouts are still, I guess, kind of unsure how his A10 production will translate against NBA level athletes, which is a reasonable suspicion. However, we have seen guys like this pan out in the NBA before, especially in recent years. We've got guys that are It doesn't really matter where they play, but if the raw intangibles are there, you don't pass up on them, and it's worked out for teams that have taken that gamble. Fleming is not a creator, to say the least. He doesn't really have a polished handle, and he can drift when not involved in the play, but the raw tools, the rim protection, the rebounding, and the shooting touch that he has added in the past year, that is a combination you gamble on in the late first, especially at 22. I mean, he could be if he is there at 22, I'm going to be literally doing backflips, because that is just a dream scenario. And obviously with the Hawks, wanting to bring in some more forward depth, I mean, he would just fit the mold perfectly. He thrives as a play finisher. He's someone who would play well with everyone else in Atlanta's current rotation. But if he does have to spend some time in College Park, so be it. I mean, College Park is one of the best developmental programs in the NBA, in terms of G League teams. I mean, for a Hawks team needing energy and a defensive presence off the bench, while also a quick, athletic, great in transition forward, I mean, come on. Fleming could make a lot of sense, especially at 22. It's a dream scenario, and I'm gonna be pushing that even more, especially on my Twitter. Just that Fleming is someone who I think is going to be a perfect fit for Atlanta. I'm going to be pushing this agenda a lot over the next week. I'm going to be posting his highlights. I'm going to be breaking down his game even more, maybe in a future episode before the draft, as I really, narrow down my top prospects for the Hawks. I'm going to put out my personal Hawks big board over the next couple of days on my Twitter, so everyone be on the lookout for that, and expect Fleming to be pretty high on that, as I'm talking about specifically for the Hawks. So now we're going to kind of close with a quick but I guess interesting note out of Boston. According to Shams Charania via the Pat McAfee show, teams are throwing crazy offers at Jaylen Brown and Derek White. Like Shams said, this is going to be the craziest offseason in NBA history, and it might already be starting. Now, let's be real. The Hawks probably aren't one of those teams that have already reached out regarding Brown or White. But Jaylen Brown has been linked to Atlanta in the past. I mean, he's an Atlanta native who would be a great cultural fit and also a great team fit. I mean, what's not to like about Jaylen Brown's game? I mean, he's a high-volume three-point shooter, a great secondary 1A, 1B scorer that could fit right next to Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, make it for a great big three, but it would gut a lot of Atlanta's depth, so I'm obviously very hesitant to believe that the Hawks would be getting involved in that sweepstakes, at least now. I mean, let's not ignore the facts. While Jalen is absolutely amazing, he's on one of the largest contracts in NBA history and doesn't necessarily fit the Hawks' timeline right now. Taking that on would destroy the Hawks' cap flexibility, especially with Trae and Jalen, and then now Dyson's becoming extension eligible. They're already all in the books. He also regressed last season, and that is not to be shade at him, but it's definitely notable when you're considering trading a lot of assets and putting a lot of these salaries together to match your giant deal. When you did regress the past season, I mean, he struggled with consistency and ball control despite being named Finals MVP the season prior. Derek White, I guess, is a more realistic target for the Hawks. However, his fit is also questionable in Atlanta. I mean, the Hawks already have a logjam at the backcourt. I mean, we have our starting five really, pretty much locked up. But, I mean, maybe if you shift Dyson to the 3 and then you plug Derek White at the 2 and have a starting 1-2-3 of Young, White, and Daniels. I mean, White and Daniels would be an incredible defensive duo at the wings. I mean, that would be pretty much as perfect as you could get. I mean, obviously with Dyson expecting another shooting leap. But, I mean, that's a lot of moving pieces for a team that's already struggling with rotation continuity. But they would have one of the best defensive 2-3 tandems in the league. So that's obviously undeniable, but it's unclear what the Hawks would have to give up in order to get Derek White. But also it is known that the Celtics are trying to save money. So this could be a situation where, we wouldn't have to give up a lot and maybe could fleece the Celtics, although Brad Stevens isn't a GM that's going to get fleeced, so who knows? I mean, while fun to speculate, it's obviously the more likely situation is that the Hawks just stay focused on the draft and internal development rather than chasing these big names and potentially bloated contracts. So that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Hawks Latest. From Trae's leadership with these French prospects and with the Atlanta Hawks, Two compelling forward prospects, especially my guy Rasheer Fleming, and the never-ending rumor mill this offseason is heating up fast. So let me know in the comments. Should the Hawks trade up for Noah Essengue? Would Rasheer Fleming be an absolute steal at 22? Please say yes. And is there any scenario where Jaylen Brown or Derek White makes sense in Atlanta? Let me know what you would give up for them and if you would potentially get in those sweepstakes. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update here on Hawks Latest. We're going to be pumping out videos every single day like we have always been doing. The draft is just 5 days away now, guys. There's going to be a lot to talk about, and we are going to talk about it all on here. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Zach Langley, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.